What's going on, everybody? Dave here at the Reef Aquarium Shop in Indianapolis, Indiana. Going live today on YouTube. Today I want to discuss what's new at the shop. We've done a lot of things over the past month or so, and it's just a lot to take in over a ton of different posts that we've made about it on Twitter and Facebook. That's what we use mostly for our update type posts. Always Twitter gets the first take on anything new like that. But what I wanted to go over, we are doing some things in the warehouse and doing some upgrades. We've expanded our receiving area, put more shelving in so we can hold more product in back stock, or just order large quantities of things that we bring in. We've been ordering in bulk a lot more lately, so that's fantastic. But we needed room to store all those things, so we're sticking more shelving up. We're also redesigning our coral propagation room, and I'm going to show you some pictures from that here in a little bit as well. But while we are potentially gaining some more viewers here, I do want to say, hey, what's up? I'm Dave, and tell you a little bit about myself and my history in the aquarium hobby. So I started keeping fish when I was 10. So I have been keeping fish for 23 years now. And my very first fish tank, my parents found online somewhere. I'm not sure where, or like in some sort of ad. Back in that day, the internet wasn't quite as useful as it is today. But we found this tank, and they advertised it as a 20-gallon tank, right? So we go pick up this tank, and it's really cool. It's like got this small base. It's a taller tank. Turns out, and I found this out years later, actually, that it was not a 20-gallon. It was a 15-gallon. Had a 10-gallon base. The footprint was the same as a 10-gallon, but it was just taller. So the very first fish I started off with in this 15-gallon, mind you, was one angelfish and one bala shark. And that's not ideal. That was my first jump into the hobby, and I was getting frustrated because things like that weren't doing well. You know, my parents, they just wanted to make me happy. They didn't really know anything about keeping fish. They just knew that I was interested. I went to the library all the time. I brought home this aquarium keeping book one day, and just got really interested in that. And so they set me up. And they didn't know why these fish were dying either. So the one thing that kept me in the hobby, because I was getting so frustrated, was a mystery snail that I had, a gold mystery snail. It was big, or got that way anyway. And every day I would go to feed the tank, and I would put a little bit of food in there, and he would race up to the top of the tank as fast as a snail can, and put his little mouth up on the surface of the water. And a 10-year-old me would just drop flakes directly into the snail's mouth. And I loved that. I went nuts over it. And that's what kept me in the hobby. Ever since I was 10, I've, for the most part, had a tank running. A few times I've moved and took a minute to set another tank back up, but I almost always have some sort of tank running. The most tanks I've had running at one time is 12. I was running 12 tanks at a time, and I've never had a fish room or anything. I planned a fish room, but I move around a lot, so I never really actually got into building something like that. But I've kept all different kinds of fish, mostly freshwater fish. That's kind of been my niche. I like saltwater. I know a ton about saltwater, but I just really dig the freshwater vibe. So that's me. That's my experience. That's how long I've been keeping tanks. I've been at the Reef now for goodness, almost almost 13 years now. And I've been loving it every step of the way. Started just as a sales associate, came on from a Petco. I was the aquatics specialist there at a Petco on the north side, and found the Reef. Fell in love with the shop and applied. I saw they had a little hiring sign up there, so I went for it, and here I am today. Did that. I've been a service tech for the company. I've been several different stages of management for the company. And now what I do is hang out over in the corporate offices, in the TheReefIndy studios, if you will. And I handle all of our social media, digital marketing, all the screens that are up in the shop now. That's what I do. I create the images for that and run all of that. So having a real good time with that, and it allows me to do things like this, like being here with you guys. So I am going to go ahead and get into these updates, and I have some pictures that I want to show you guys. And don't worry if you are asking questions, I do see them coming in. I'm going to go over these updates and then start hitting those up for you guys, and seeing if, at least to the best of my knowledge, seeing if I can help you out there and get your questions answered. But first up, and again, I'm trying a new system today. This is the first time I'm going live on StreamYard. I'm digging it so far. It actually gives me a green screen feature, which I am digging. I can change that to whatever I want, which is neat. I was playing around with that earlier. But I'm excited for this stream. We're going to toss up a picture of some Java fern lace. I think it's real pretty. Anyway. Neither here nor there, but I am going to share my screen here and show you some pictures, but you are going to see not just pictures, but some of the computer stuff around it. So I do apologize for that. But so earlier this month, as a lot of you know already, and if you don't, here you go, we added a whole new department to the Reef. We had a lot of people asking us about terrarium plants and foliage plants. We were growing pothos out of our hang on the back filters that we have, and we would sell clippings of our pothos to customers, and people were just asking, well, can you just get more stuff like this in? So we listened, and we brought some stuff in. Here's Brandon working on building that shelving unit. This is our pond section that you're looking at now, and there used to be a little shed here that was up there for years and starting to just get a little run down, and we weren't really doing anything with it anyway. So if you've ever been in the shop, you know we like to maximize our merchandise space. So it was an unused space, and we decided to use it. And we ordered a ton of plants in, a ridiculous amount of plants in. And there's that shelving unit all completed. Now, this is before he put the stain on it. But Brandon did put a lot of thought into actually how it was going to look. And you can kind of see the stain in this. But boom, there is all of the plants that we got in on that first shipment. And these have been super popular. So we actually we thought we were going to make this initial order, not really have to do any reordering for a little while since we got so much up front. But the very next week, we had to make a new order because you guys just pounced on these. It was nuts. But over here, can you see my cursor? Yes, you can see my cursor. Excuse me. So these big plants over here, these are also included. These are macho ferns that you're looking at. Very big plants. The ones that people have been going super nuts over are these up here in the top right corner. That is the Swiss cheese plants, or the monsteras. But the Swiss cheese monsteras, people were going nuts over these. We actually, on that second order, this first order, you just see these hanging baskets of the Swiss cheese monstera here. But on that second order, we actually got some smaller pots. Those big pots that you're looking at run $40, $39.99. And then the little ones that we just got in that you don't see in the picture here are only $14.99. So you can either get a nice massive plant right off the bat, or you can get a little starter for just 15 bucks. Lots of really cool hanging baskets that came in. Some of them are just stuffed full of an assortment of plants, which is neat. And then on the bottom left here, these are some of my favorite plants. We've got a bunch of assorted terrarium plants down here. They're in just 2-inch pots there. Bromeliads hanging out next to those. We even have some air plants that came in. The lipstick plants up here in the hanging baskets, succulents. We got a lot of plants. You guys asked, so we don't do anything small around here. So we just decided to go big with it and just fill the pond section full of terrarium and foliage plants. So that's pretty neat. So that is probably the biggest update we have going on in the shop right now. And that is, I think so. Yeah. That's the biggest update we have going on in the shop is the terrestrial plants. We're very excited about those. You guys were too. You can actually see, if you want more information on these plants that you're looking at, we have a video posted on YouTube, foliage and terrarium plants, or terrarium and foliage plants, something like that. It's a few back. We've done some work since we posted that. But Brandon gives you a breakdown of every single plant we got in. Some of them he'll even go into like some more detailed care and tips and propagation and things of that nature. So go check that out when you get the chance. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Well, actually, I'm off to the side here. But I can fix that with this fancy program that I'm doing. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification to give you notifications every time we go live or post new content. That would be much appreciated. And if you end up getting some good information out of this video, give this video a like as well. But speaking of checking out our YouTube channel, that is another thing that we have really gone ham on in the past month or two. For a while, for almost a year now, we've been, I don't want to say steadily, but we've definitely been putting some new content out over the last year. Whereas previously, before this year, our last content that we posted was back in 2011 when we did a store tour, a little video on the nitrogen cycle, and a stupid little video about how many tanks we had in stock that day, which is actually pretty funny. It has Jeannie in it. I love Jeannie. She's great. Shout out to Jeannie. If you remember her, let me know in the comments. Just the sweetest little old lady who volunteered at the shop forever. She used to come in every day. She doesn't come in anymore, but she's still doing great. She'll come in and visit us, but not to volunteer. But yeah, if you know who Jeannie is, tell her what's up in the comments. And if she doesn't see this, I'll make sure to pass the information along and let her know that you said hey. But she's in that video, and anyway, it's a stupid little video. So we've been working on YouTube a lot and getting that up and running. So my goal, I had been posting like one video a month recently. When I first started off, I think I was doing, I did a couple product reviews, which are actually pretty popular. I'm going to be doing some more product reviews very soon. I was just, at this point, I'm kind of just testing the waters, so to speak, with the channel, putting out a bunch of different types of content, and I'm throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks, you know? So if you dig certain videos, definitely like and comment and watch those, and that lets me know that you dig that type of content, and I will continue creating more content like that. My most recent upload was yesterday, where I explained multiple ways to cycle a tank in 5 minutes or less. It's going to be part of a series that I'm doing where I'm going to answer some broader questions in a tight timed format. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer in that way, let me know. And I'm always open to listening, hearing you out, and seeing what you want to what you want to watch. That's important. That's the most important part about this, is putting out content that you enjoy and that you are getting useful information out of. So if you have some ideas, throw them my way. So that is our update on YouTube. Next, and that's kind of more in the warehouse section. That's corporate. You don't really see that at the shop. That's more online. So in the warehouse, we have a lot of things going on as well. Let me pop you back up here to check this out. So I don't know if you follow us on Twitter. You saw a few weeks back that we got a massive shipment of Cobalt products in Cobalt Aquatics. Fantastic company. Really enjoy their stuff. So if you watched the Reef Tour YouTube videos, there's a set of 3 videos, and we go on a tour. Well, Kevin and Viral, one of the founders of Cobalt Aquatics, actually take a road trip from Indianapolis all the way down to South Carolina and check out Cobalt's headquarters. And along the way, they actually stop at a bunch of different local fish stores. They even stop at some national monuments and fish wholesalers. So if you've ever wondered what it looks like where we get fish from, check that series out. You can even see Cobalt's home offices and at least some footage of their warehouse space. We definitely couldn't film all of it. We weren't allowed to. But when we visited their facilities, Cobalt's facilities, Kevin just went nuts, and he ordered so much stuff. He was ordering like, I'll take all of that. Oh, you have you have a pallet of this full of the same thing. You know what? Make me a deal. Take all of it. So that's another reason we were updating the space in our warehouses, because we had so much of this Cobalt product. We needed to move some stuff around to make room for that. So we are finally getting that put away. There's Chris popping up some micro views. Actually, what he has in his hands in that box that you can't see is one of the Decoria series tanks. The Decorias are really cool. They are all one-piece hand-blown glass containers, and they range in like half-gallon, and I think the largest size is 3.1 or 3.2 gallons. That's off the top of my head. Correct me if you know the actual answer. But they're super neat. I'm going to be busting out one of those soon and doing a video on that. Again, speaking of doing more product reviews, that's one that I intend on doing soon. And also in this shipment, I got a micro view, not a micro view, a Seaview 18. That is one of their larger series of rimless tanks that they put out. And I'm going to be putting that together, starting from scratch, like building the stand out of the box, going from receiving it all the way up to filling it with water, plants, putting fish in it. And then once I'm done with that series, I'll be posting it, and we will eventually be giving that entire setup away on YouTube. So if that's something that interests you, look forward to that. And again, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It'll let you know when new content comes out. You're probably going to see several. I'm in the middle of that process. I've done the aquascape for it, and I'm about to put in plants and show you how to put them on driftwood and things of that nature. And then we will be putting fish in it. And when I'm done with that, we're going to give it away. So pay attention to the channel for that. That's going to be coming. It's probably still going to be a few weeks before that actually drops. So again, you're going to see several uploads before that makes it onto the channel. But something really cool to look forward to if you want a free or a chance at a free complete tank setup. It's going to be pretty neat. What else we got going on? This happened a couple days ago. They've been doing some upgrades to our warehouse facilities. If you've passed by the area, you saw that they tore down locals only. That building is where our warehouse is, right across the street from the shop. And so they've been repaving and stuff like that. And to help with insulation, they're actually blocking in all of our windows. This is good and bad. So the good part is we're much better insulated now than we were before. The bad part is that, as you can see here, this is them in the middle of the process. It's not completely blocked in, but it kind of looks like a dungeon in some parts of our warehouse now. So that's pretty funny. But hey, it nice and temperature controlled. Well, a little better anyway in the warehouse. It's a warehouse, it's a big warehouse. It gets hot and it gets cold depending on the season. You probably hear my AC running in the background, and that's the only way this room is bearable. Next, what you're looking at, there's Chris again. So I was talking earlier, we are making upgrades to our coral propagation room in our warehouse. And over here, you see our coral tubs. There are 5 of them. And what you don't see behind Chris, and you probably still wouldn't see it even if he moved, which he's not going to, it's a picture. Excuse me. But we've got a large 300-gallon vat packed full of live rock, and we use that as kind of our personal reef tank. We'll toss little chips of corals and stuff in there and see what sticks, and it's actually pretty cool. I should honestly do a video just on that 300-gallon tub, but I am making a video on the remodel here. That is in the process of happening. Actually, as we speak, Chris is removing corals from this trough here. This one has a little leak, like the tiniest of leaks that just will continuously make us lose water and get the floor wet. So we are dumping that and flipping it over, putting some light under it so we can find out exactly where we're going wrong and hopefully repair that leak. And we're actually going to move where this big tub here is. This originally was our filtration system. This was our sump. And if you look at the pipes here, and I don't have an actually good picture of it, but we have rerouted the plumbing to bypass what was the sump and go to another way higher tech filtration unit that pushes a lot more water. And if you're interested in seeing that, hold out for that video to release and you'll get some good footage of it. But we are, I was about to point to it and you can't see what I'm pointing at. Use your cursor. So we are going to remove this sump, take this vat, move it over there. And again, if you watch our channel, you may have seen the video we posted about us aquaculturing our own live rock. We have a giant container, much like this one here, but like 5 or 6 times that size, and that holds 1,000 pounds or more or so in the of live rock in that vat. So we're actually going to take that giant vat, squeeze it through a little opening. After we empty it, of course, that's going to be a big old project, is removing all that live rock so we can move that container. But that's coming into the coral propagation area, and it's going to be added into the system so that we can get all that beneficial bio from the 1,000+ pounds of live rock that we have in there. So that's pretty sweet. And then this is them rerouting more plumbing over here. Now we're doing this in stages, so we're actually still using what was our filtration system, and it's just taking in water and flowing it through these pipes to the larger filter that we have it running on now. But again, we will be removing that and just kind of puzzle piecing everything together as we get it done. So that is the updates that we have going on currently. And again, if you want to check out everything that we are doing over at the shop and just little quality of life upgrades for ourselves, for you, which ultimately are quality of life upgrades for you, check out our Twitter and follow us there. That for the most part is where we are sticking the majority of our update type photos. And you're gonna get a lot of like behind the scenes type stuff there. And then follow us on Instagram. That's more of like a livestock showcase. We'll post pictures of our fish, plants. We do alternating salt fresh, things like that. Really neat stuff. And then, of course, our Facebook is kind of where we do the majority of our store announcements. We'll announce our sales. Usually we'll have a weekly sale. Right now, our Fluval series, well, not all the Fluvals, the Fluval, I'm just going to pop it up for you. Un minuto, por favor. Yes, the FX series. Now it's going to be the 4 and why did it do that? It's going to be the FX4 and the FX6 that are currently running on sale right now. If you want to see exactly what that deal is, jump onto our Facebook page. That's where those announcements will go for sales and deals of that nature. And that's also currently, anyway, where we go live every week to show you our fish rooms. And we do a weekly fish room tour on our Facebook page. That way you can see everything that we get in, because on any given week, we will get in 3 or 4 shipments on either side of the store, freshwater and saltwater. So like one week we'll get like two shipments of saltwater fishing and like 3 shipments of freshwater fishing. Other times we've gone up to like 6 shipments in 1 week on one side. Like we've had 6 freshwater shipments come in at one point. We do a lot of fish ordering. So in order to help you keep track of all that, we try to give you all the information as possible. We'll do the weekly fish room tours, show you the highlights of what's new, show you the highlights of what's still around and what looks good. And we will also post up the master list, which is just a solid, here is every single thing we got in this week on our Facebook page. So if you're not following us there, I definitely recommend it. It'd be a good idea. We actually might be switching those. This is undecided, but we actually might be switching those over to YouTube live streams instead of live streaming on Facebook. We'll still post the master list and stuff like that on Facebook, but we might transfer the live streams over to YouTube. Haven't made that official or anything yet, so that may or may not happen, but it's a line of thought we're thinking about. And a lot of that has to do with what we're doing here. I would like to actually, if I'm going to change something, it needs to be an upgrade. I need to be taking a step up. Otherwise, there's no real reason for me to change anything. So I've been playing around with some live stream features. All of those are typically done off my phone. So got to find some good stuff that operates off of my phone so that I can stream and still do cool stuff like this. Like I've got my ticker running. As you can see here in a little bit, I'm going to be running comments and banners and things like that. So that would be really nice. I could probably crossing fingers. The goal would be to ID the fish that you're looking at for you in banner form. Like, let me just give you an example. So I didn't actually use these today, but if I were going to, back when I was supposed to, I just kind of got into it and forgot. This is my first time, again, using StreamYard. I'm a fan so far, but I can do things like this and add tags to like different sections that I'm doing. So I, obviously what's new at the shop, talking about what's new at the shop, those terrestrial and terrarium plants. I'm moving to things like that. Just some really cool stuff that I can do. And then I can pop up comments, like we're going to take Terry's comment telling me that I had a 20 high. I think that's what you're telling me anyway. And I can pop it right up there. So when I'm answering questions, you can see them right there. So that's what I want to do when if I'm going to change something like that, move platforms from Facebook to YouTube. Now, I don't necessarily have to do that. I've got other reasons. I can use the streaming platform for Facebook, but I'm just trying to tailor my audiences here. So we'll see how that goes. I think that pretty much covers all of the things we've got going on over at the warehouse and the shop currently. So I'm going to get in here, and looks like I've only got one question from y'all so far, and it's again from Terry. Thanks, Terry, for being vocal. I appreciate it. Oh, also. No, when you said it was a 20 high, I was talking about my very first fish tank. It actually, I measured it out much later in life. Probably like 10, 15 years later, I still had this very same tank, and I measured it out, and it was actually 14 point something gallons. It wasn't actually a 20 high, because that's actually what I thought as well, because I made two mistakes. Originally, we thought it was a 20 gallon. They advertised it as a 20 gallon, and then it got to me, and yeah, I assumed at that point that it was a 20. Measured it out. Turns out it was 15. So a really weird size that I haven't come across again since. So yeah, it was pretty neat. Let's see here, and got another question here. I'm having heterotrophic bacterial bloom. What's the recommended recovery steps? So with really any bacterial bloom, my favorite method at reducing that is really just adding more bio. Now that can also be a double-edged sword, but really it's just keeping your parameters in line. Make sure you're not high in your organics or anything like that. Make sure you're not, it's not as light based, but you can still do a lot with light, and also with any other like an algae bloom, like a cyano and stuff like that. A lot of people will use erythromycin to really nix that. Be careful with that, as it is a medication that you'll be using. So I usually just give it a half dose, and that takes care of it for me. Outside of that, it's just keeping super clean conditions. Also, you're going to get a lot of stuff like that setting up a new tank. And a lot of people just expect little different types of bacterial blooms when you have a new system. And a lot of times that's going to work itself out on its own. So those are a few broad answers, and it's going to be a little different for each situation, honestly. So yeah, I would check your bacterials or your organics, and make sure your ammonia nitrate nitrites are okay and riding fine. Check your light schedule. And if you're still having problems, yeah, there's a couple products out there, depending on whether you're using salt or fresh, that can actually nix that for you as well. But I just I kind if I'm just I like to just ride a clean tank, and if I really have an issue with it, I'm gonna hit it up with erythro. We had a big problem with that in our 315-gallon planted display with all the rainbow fish. I don't know if you're familiar, but after probably a month, we started hitting this really bad brown slime algae everywhere. And we actually just didn't do anything to combat that. We just let it run its course. Every time we did water changes, we would suck up as much as possible. And then eventually it just kind of went away on its own. So there's that. Looks like I might have. Oh, Tom is saying that there is a way to stream on both platforms at the same time. Yes, there absolutely is. Unfortunately, I know you don't really get caught that often, but it is against the policies of YouTube to be streaming the same content on multiple platforms. So while that is technically an option, I can get nicked for that. So I'd like to avoid that and only go live on one platform. But yes, you absolutely can. And again, most people, most people are fine doing it. They just go for it. There's a lot of things on YouTube that you're not technically supposed to do, but it's not really heavily enforced. Like there's a bunch of I was talking about this giveaway. And there are a lot of stipulations on how to do giveaways on YouTube and things that you're supposed to have to do. But I see plenty of people not doing that. I'm going to still stay in line and follow that. Let's see here. What else we got? What's the best setting for my Sea Ray 200? I have 2 clowns and some cleanup crew with live rock. No coral yet. That is from Philip. Thanks for your question, Philip. So I love the Sea Rays. The Sea Rays are fantastic. If you're not familiar with them, if you've been in the shop, this is what we have running over all of our saltwater systems. The whole Coral Raceway is lit by multiple Sea Rays. Our 450-gallon display tank that we posted a video about a little while back. Check it out if you're interested. That is running Sea Rays. So they're larger fixtures with 2 LED cannons and a fill bar, and I really like having that fill bar too. That really just it keeps the so when you have like an LED cannon, you end up with that light spread that's a triangle. With the fill bar, you have 2 triangles and the fill bar in the middle, so you have even lighting all the way down. Love that feature about it. But if you don't have any corals or anything like that running in it currently, I would just keep it at like lower settings. Like you don't really have to go ham on it right now. If you say you have 2 clowns, and if you have an anemone with that, that's going to enjoy some higher lighting. But really, until you get some corals and stuff in there, you don't have to worry about that too much. If you've got live rock with little bits and pieces on it, maybe bump that up a little bit. If you're trying to promote growth of some like macroalgae or maybe some little pieces of coral that just came in on your live rock, you can bump that up a bit. But if they're surviving now, then you shouldn't need to do anything too spectacular to it. We just keep our live rock under some standard lighting. So if it is flourishing currently when you've got it, you shouldn't really need to have anything extravagant. And your lighting settings are going to vary once you put coral in, depending on the types of coral that you're doing. And a lot of that will have to do with placement in the tank, high or low, closer to the light, further away, blah blah blah. But yeah, for now, it doesn't matter too much. I would keep it low to keep your algae down, and you can be running that probably on a lower time rate as well. Just run it for like 5-6 hours a day to keep those algae down. Especially, now you haven't given me this information, but if it is a new tank, like we were talking about with Terry, um, in the beginning of a setup, you're gonna get some blooms here and there, and most common is that cyano, kind of like that bacterial algae bloom, and that just kind of happens. And if you just keep everything low and basic and let it ride out, you're gonna be fine. So yeah, just keep it on a lower end for now, and you should be fine. And then just tailor those settings to the specific corals you're grabbing once you do that. Let's see here. It doesn't look like I have any more questions coming in, which is fine, perfectly fine. I feel like on my live streams, I haven't done a live stream here in a little bit, but I feel like one of the most common questions I do get is how to get rid of bacterial blooms. So I think that might end up being my next TLDR series video. It's the one where I'm doing everything, trying to explain stuff in 5 minutes or less. And yeah, I think we'll get on that. I'm gonna start planning that out after I get done here. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. Well, if no one pops on with more questions, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. I appreciate you hanging out with me. And if you have any ideas for topics of future live streams or just future videos in general, drop them in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, like this video if you got something out of it. If you actually like this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, don't do anything. But also, if you want more content, just where am I? I'm backwards. Subscribe down there. Hit that little bell notification, and that's going to let you know every time we go live and every time we post new content. So again, I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with me, seeing what's new at the shop. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow on Facebook for our live fish room tours. We'll see you then, guys. Thanks. Bye.